Bryce, 31 years old. I'm an engineer, and this right here, this is Gina. So how I ended up with Gina here was quite the story. I had always loved the G35. I'd been shopping for one for 10 years almost, just because I liked them. And this one, for some reason, actually came up in Craigslist in Phoenix, even though the car was in El Paso, Texas. So I drove all the way to El Paso, Texas to buy this car, but it was such a nightmare with getting the bank to release the title, and the guy had failed to mention some problems with the car, so there was all these things that happened, and when I finally got to El Paso, Texas, I ended up paying another $1,000 less than the guy had listed, on top of the fact that he had it listed for about $2,000 less than everybody else, because the cars in his area were salvaged. So, long story short, I ended up with this car for a really good price and a whole lot of headaches. So my introduction to the local Arizona car scene was actually through D'Angelo. He found me on Instagram, and he told me about his car group, the 93 AZ. And through some DMs, we had talked about sponsors and a few other things, and he invited me out to the Boba Tea Hut for one of their meets, and that's how I met all the guys at 93 AZ. So that was my initial introduction to the Arizona car scene. So I've been messing around with cars and go-karts since I was a little kid. I've always been a builder. I always like to tinker with things and change them up. So when I was a little kid, I had a go-kart. My buddies would come over and we'd do stuff to it. And then when I could finally drive, I bought a Jeep. And with that Jeep, I built everything on it. I mean, it's a Jeep. That's what you do with a Jeep. You have to modify it. So I built the Jeep out, spent 10 years building that Jeep up, and then I sold it and I bought Gina here. And I've just always loved the G35. I always wanted one. So as soon as I got it, the first thing I did was start modifying it. That's just what I do with my cars. I make them my own. So I've spent 2 years now actually working on her, doing from paint, exhaust, engine, just about everything I can touch. I've done, just because that's what I love to do. I love to build. Sure is one day my goal will be to have twin turbos on it, doing about 450 at the rear wheels. I know I could go a lot more horsepower, but I only need what I need to get it to stick to the ground and really run it hard. So I track, I do corners, I do drift. I don't really need straight line power. So if I had to pick one thing, then it's almost like picking my favorite child. But I mean, I love the way it sounds, I love the way it drives, I love the way it feels, just everything. But if I had to pick one thing, I would say to this day, it's still the exhaust note. I love the sound of this car. I can't drive it for more than a few feet before I just start smiling. And it's just that pure sound that it has. And I was actually really nervous changing the exhaust on it because I love this factory sound so much. But fortunately, it still kept that same soul, just a little more aggression to it. I just love the sound of this car. I hate the seat belts though. I mean, seriously, what is so hard about getting a seatbelt to reel in like it should? So the seatbelt's always dangling and getting caught in the doors, and the doors are a whole other problem. They always close on you. If you like not having ankles, buy a G35 and just leave your foot hanging out. Eventually that door will crush it. The door hinges and the seatbelts, but I'd say the one major complaint aside from those that I have is the weight. The car is just so much heavier than it needed to be. And it really shows in the driving. I mean, I've done a lot of things to try and help with that, but the G35 kind of will always have that kind of heavy feel to it. Although it does make it very planted on the ground, it could definitely be a lot lighter. So if I had to go back and do it all over again, and I couldn't have this car, I probably would have bought an STI, a Subaru STI, just because I do a lot of snowboarding, to have the all-wheel drive, get to the mountain. And I've got kids, so having the 4 doors would have been very convenient. And I always wanted to track, so having the all-wheel drive would make it a rather formidable track car. So I guess if I had to do it all over again and I couldn't have this, because I would always pick this car, I would probably go with the STI. So would I recommend this car for a driver? Someone who really wants to get into the experience of driving a car? Absolutely. I have loved this car. I love the way it handles. I love the way it feels. It's got enough power to have some fun and not too much to get you in trouble. So in the last 40,000 miles I've had the car, I've had almost no issues. It's a great, reliable car. The only problems I've had have pretty much been my fault, from adding stuff to it and changing things out, parts that were less than superior quality. So, but as far as just a car itself, if you're looking to be a driver, to get out and experience the driving world, the G35 I feel is a great car to do it. Alright guys, just to wrap it up, I got to give some shout outs to some people and some companies that have really helped me over the years, especially with my build. First, ISC Suspension. These guys hooked me up with coilovers when I was first starting out. They provide a great product and have just been fantastic to work with. Shift Tech Performance. I called up the guy just recently with some questions. He really took the time to answer my questions and help me out and work me through what I needed to get through. So hit him up. G35 Driver. The forums there are great for getting information. I bought a lot of parts from there. Really reach out to, there's some great companies and people that can help you out. Some local car clubs that have been really good. 93AZ, Fourth Dimension, these guys are really great. Make sure you hit them up as well. And finally, some friends of mine, dipyourcar.com. These guys hooked me up with my dip 2 years ago. The car still looks really good. Really great quality products. Make sure you guys check them out. Buddy of mine, Tyler Wright, makes carbon fiber wedding rings. His company's Carbon Fi. He helped me lay a lot of the carbon fiber pieces on the interior of my car. It really got me over my fear of doing that. And finally and foremost, by no short distance, is my wife. She has put up with me for 10 years now, building cars. She calls this one the mistress. She has been an amazing support to me and does amazing work herself. Check her out at pneumaticaddict.com. Find her on Facebook, Instagram, or her blog directly. Thanks, guys.